Hi, Minder.
Hello. Oh, there it goes again.
Shut up. Shut up. I forgot to turn off loop track. God bless it.
We're doing it live.
Yeah.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Oh. Shit, son.
The real ones know where that's from.
Now what?
Are you wearing a Buffy the Vampire Slayer shirt?
No, it's actually Avril Lavigne.
Oh, okay. It looked like Buffy when I just saw like the top half. It looked like Buffy.
Yeah, it's actually Avril. Yeah, my hair is just.
Do you ever see that conspiracy theory that she's not Avril Lavigne anymore? That
yes, I did hear that that's a thing.
Yeah, that like someone said that like there's a body double that's been acting as her for 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I have heard such. But hi, we're a podcast. We are the NDC podcast. You make up whatever you'd like it to be. Neurodivergent convergence is what it's supposed to be. You can call it whatever you want. I don't care. I'm Nikki, and that's Amanda. Say hi, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda. And we are two neurodivergent best friends traveling the neuroverse together because we are living in a neurotypical world and we are not neurotypical girls, Amanda. We do not know what the fuck we are talking about today, right?
Yeah, we're talking about fuck all.
Fuck all. This is the fuck all sode. I love that. It's probably what I'll call it, even though it probably won't get us any clicks at all.
Have it censored. You gotta put the little star. What's funny is like what they consider like censoring, like even on social media and stuff when you have to censor certain words, like just put a little like asterisk in the vowel of the word, and kids definitely won't know what that says.
Yeah, they definitely don't know what that means.
Yeah, as if kids aren't like habitually online nowadays, to where it's like, oh, it's adorable that you think your kids don't know what curse words are. That's cute.
Right. Oh no, not the burps. Here we go again. I burp a lot on this show. If you're new here,
I'm also drinking a soda, so I'll probably also try not to burp. I tend to be a little more.
I got my Pepsi Zero.
I tend to try, and I got my Coke Zero. Represent. But I tend to try to be
fake Stanley.
I gotta. I try to be a little more discreet about it. I just kind of go like that. Like I lean to a side. Like the chocolate
I'm like, I gotta burp. Smash microphone mute button.
Like the chocolate rain guy when he would lean away from the microphone to breathe. I love that video.
So we've made it past the 3-minute mark. The YouTube bots can now.
To be fair, easy. we did curse like 4 times in the first 3 minutes, so they probably already got us.
I mean, that's fine, but they're not gonna take our shit down because we said a cuss word, so that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the cussing. I know we're never going to be monetized on YouTube. This channel will never ever be monetized on YouTube. I gave up that dream before it ever started. So I don't care about that. Just don't take my fucking videos down, please. Leave them alone. Or I'm going to Rumble, goddammit. We will leave and go to Rumble. Just kidding. No, we won't. That's worse. But at least you can say vaccine and not schmaxine.
Yep. The poke. Saying. Just call it the poke.
Yeah. God damn. That is so annoying, though. We can talk about that for a minute. About how it's really annoying to have to, like, censor yourself that much when you're not even saying anything bad. Like, you're not the one using it in some fucked up context, yet you're the one that gets... one bad apple spoiled the whole goddamn bunch.
And it's like I get it. Because they have AI, obviously they can't have a whole. It would take like 1 million people to watch through every single video. Like they would need a team, like full-time team of like 1 million people to watch through all the videos. So I understand like they have an AI, but then when someone appeals it, that's when you're like, okay, maybe we'll actually have a human watch it, like especially because your AI like. Timestamps for you what the problem section is. Just watch that part. You don't have to watch the whole 50-minute, hour-long video. Just watch like the 1 minute that the AI is pissy. So,
or even the 5 minutes before and the 5 minutes after to understand the context of what was said. you can very easily pay one human 15 minutes to watch for 15 minutes to watch a 15-minute chunk of someone's video, or even a 10-minute chunk of someone's video, to understand, or I don't know, read the fucking title. We're not pissy about it or salty about it at all, are we, Amanda?
No. No.
Ugh, so angry. But anyway, just stop doing that shit. It's so annoying. I want to be able to say the words that I mean and not have to say schmaxine and graped and other stupid things that aren't the word. I feel like, especially in that situation, you're taking the what am I trying to say? The gravity away from the situation. Like, you're making it to where,
to like how Swoop has to say corn when she means like, porn, you know?
Right.
And then like, or like eschewal, like she can't like, you know, say SA. I'm like, okay, but I understand, like you're trying not to trigger people at the same time. It's more about triggering the censors, and I'm not throwing shade at like Swoop or other people that do this. Like, I'm just saying, it's like, I understand, like in their heart, they're probably also trying not to trigger people, but it's also like majority of it is because you're not trying not to trigger the censors, the AI that's constantly watching. And so I understand that, but it's also like when you call something, like when you say like something like a serious topic like porn and you have to call it corn, it just kind of takes away from it.
Correct. Especially when you're talking about someone being assaulted, like sexually assaulted, and you can't say sexually assaulted, and when you have to say graped, like, or estually or whatever, like, you're taking that away from the gravity of that person's experience by not being able to call it what the fuck it is.
Right.
Like, it's like when you teach your kids to call their private area
cookie,
the actual name, right?
Yeah.
The actual name for it, instead of like, which, I mean, I'm guilty of that. Like, we have always, because I grew up with it being called a certain thing, so that's what we've always called it. But like, but also my children also understand what the actual name for their parts are, and we call it that too. So like, because if someone ever does something to them, I want them to be able to tell someone, hey, this person touched my private area, and be able to say specifically what part it is, because you know what? Most kids are not sorry, that was a weird burp, are not going to be able to say that. And so when you hear a small child use that kind of language, you're going to go, oh shit, that really happened. Like, you're more inclined to believe somebody, especially a tiny child, when they say, this person touched my penis, as opposed to this person touched my peeper. You know, like, it's, you have to say what you mean.
It's kind of like,
Bot gets mad for me saying that, I'm gonna be real pissed off.
It's kind of like, I saw a meme. I mean, it's terrible calling it a meme, but it basically was a meme. But it's where, like, basically the virtue of teaching kids like the actual names for things, because there was one, obviously I don't know if the story's made up or what, or just kind of as an example, but like this little girl came up to this teacher or something, or this teacher's aide, and said like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, my uncle touched my cookie. And she meant like down there. And then they were like, oh, okay, honey. Like, didn't realize until later what she meant. And it's like, so don't do that. You're like, don't put puritanical values on shit like that. That's so dumb to me. Like, I understand not wanting your kids to curse, but these aren't curse words. They're body parts.
They're anatomical parts of their body.
Yeah.
But some, you know, we could go on a whole tangent about how some of the fundy religions don't believe in science. So of course they're not going to believe in scientific parts of your body, but we're not talking about that today, because we'd be here. I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah. We're on time limit.
For ages. We're not time limit. I have crotch goblins to receive from school. Well, one crotch goblin that I have to pick up. The other one finds his way home on his own now.
Like a homing, like a pigeon.
Like a homing pigeon. That is obviously a joke. He safely returns home. Don't worry about it. But like, obviously a joke. Don't come for me.
Also, it's like, when people get mad at like jokes like that, it's like, okay, what did you do as a child? Like, as a child, like,
oh my god,
like, like I was home alone from like I think the last time I had a babysitter I was 10. Was like the last time we had a babysitter, because it's like from then on it's like because my mom went back to college when I was like 10, 11, and so I remember like 10 years old, the one of the neighbor girls, like older, like a teenager, would come and watch me. But then like after that, it's like, like, 'cause I remember distinctly like my cousins and I watching movies we shouldn't have been watching, to be fair, but like our parents worked. Like there was
Right.
no like having to find a babysitter for just because like your parent had to go somewhere for an hour or whatever, even like
Right.
outside of working. So it's like it's kind of like I feel like because my parents were older, like because my brother is Gen X, like he is like the last of the Gen X kids. I feel like I kind of had like a Gen X upbringing at times because my
Yeah.
parents were older. Um, because like there's 13 years between me and my brother, so I'm like firmly in the millennial. Like millennials, like what, like 80, 83, like 82 or 83 to, or no, it's
I thought
80
it's
to 96.
84.
No, it's 80 to 96, and then
Oh, okay. So I
I
thought
think
it was
like
84.
I think like 77 to 83 is called a zennial, like a,
Okay.
but
I
yeah,
have to look this up now while you're talking. Keep going.
1980 to 1996, I think, is like the generally accepted range of millennial. So that's why anytime like someone talks about millennials as if we're teenagers, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
the youngest millennials are like 25.
Right.
Like
Okay, so Zennials are a micro generation born between 77 and 83.
that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, which you did say. And
And
then
then I think millennials 80 to 96 or 97.
millennials is 81 to 99.
Yeah. That's
So,
different.
okay.
Usually it didn't used to be 99, it used to be 96, but um so yeah, I think like
Oh,
the
hold on.
youngest.
There's more. Okay, I don't think anyone knows because here it says a 2023 report by the Population Reference Bureau defines millennials as those born from 1981 to 1999, but CNN reports that studies sometimes define millennials as born between 1980 and 2000. And then a 2017 BBC report has also referred to this age range in reference to that used by National Records of Scotland. So I guess we just get to choose.
Yeah. Well,
who's where, I suppose.
because it's like my brother was of the age group of like Gen X, and so they're called latchkey kids, where basically like because we had like hidden keys. Like I think pretty much a lot of families have like hidden keys, but like the hidden keys were for the child to get into the house when the parents weren't home. Like
Right.
so like I said, like when I remember being at 9 years old and my cousins and I like hanging out at home, because when I was 9, we lived like just down the street from where both my mom and my aunt and uncle worked, my cousin's mom and dad. So we like during the summer, we did sometimes have a babysitter, but a lot of times we kind of just stayed by ourselves while our parents at work all summer.
Right.
And nowadays, you leave your child for 5 minutes. Oh my God, call CPS. And it's just, we've really like, I feel like it's like kind of like a crippling thing. Like we've really crippled our children to not be independent of anything. And I understand like some kids can't or whatever, but it's just the whole, well, I can't leave my child. They'll burn down the house because apparently I have no trust in them for 5 minutes. But it's also
Okay,
like,
so go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Go ahead. I didn't mean to
no,
interrupt.
I'm just saying. So it's, to me, it's just funny how like a whole, basically how like 15 years, let's say, has really changed this mindset of let's call CPS on every little thing, and not because like my child just might be more mature than your child. You ever thought of that?
Correct. And before any of y'all ask or want to whatever, yes, my bitch ass be eating mashed potatoes on air. Okay. Remember, it costs $0 to mind your own goddamn business. just saying. Let me eat my fucking mashed potatoes.
And the
We'll get
listeners
into
are
why.
like, what? And the listeners are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, then the listeners be like, poor K. But anyway, I agree with you on a lot of those levels. I remember very distinctly at my age being left to not only to my own devices at a much younger age than anyone would be allowed to stay by themselves now. But I mean, really, we really didn't have to be left on our own a lot, luckily, because my grandmother was around quite a bit during the summertime and was able to watch us. But I don't remember needing to be like 12, 13 before I could stay home by myself. And I feel like that's the like acceptable stay home by yourself age now. They keep moving the bar.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it used to be 10.
Yeah.
And now it's like 12 or 13 where it's like
Mm-hmm.
you could legally leave your child at home by themselves. And I think you have to be like 13 or 15, one of the two, to be able to legally leave your child with their sibling now. Like you can't even leave your child with a sibling. I need to Google that because I don't know for sure. But
I know like foster kids, it's either like 14 or 16, like, which to me is weird. Like, okay, I understand like foster kids, especially like, you know, obviously they're kids that even formally adopted. But I remember when my brother had to leave, like he was looking for, I don't know if like as a babysitter or what, but I said, why don't you just leave him with Elena, which is my oldest niece.
right.
And so he was like, oh, he's like, unfortunately for like foster kids, the person staying with them has to be at least like, I think it's 16. It was 16 or older. What?
Go ahead, keep talking.
Oh, I said
I was way wrong.
Yeah, and so he was like, I think, yeah, he's like, for foster kids, like the person that is left with them has to be like 16 or older, which I guess makes sense. Like you want to leave them with someone that is old enough to drive, like should you have to like take them to a hospital or something, but
right,
emergency or something. But I was like, oh, okay, what makes a foster kid different than a regular kid? But whatever, I don't know this system.
Probably because they're wards of the state, and I think they're more.
There's more laws around them.
There's more
like
laws and regulations around
laws.
what happens to them, probably.
Yeah.
Which good.
Because I mean, our foster
still
system
aren't
is terrible. Yeah, their
Correct.
foster system was terrible. So
yeah. But I was way off, so way fucking off on the age. It says this is in Illinois, the state we live in. It is illegal, not just frowned upon, fucking illegal to leave a child under the age of 14 home alone for an unreasonable amount of time.
What's unreasonable?
Exactly. This is the
Like
highest age requirement in the country. It's the highest age requirement in the country. Illinois is only one of 4 states with a statewide law on the subject. The law considers leaving a child 14 alone to be neglect or abuse. And a violation can result in a year in jail or $1,000 fine. For leaving a 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid by themselves at home. What is Okay, when determining if a situation constitutes child abandonment.
Yeah, what's unreasonable? Like an hour? Like I gotta go to the store? Like so an hour? Like what's unreasonable? Because that could be what you're unreasonable, what my unreasonable are two different unreasonables.
This isn't very helpful to know, but an age to determine reasonable is I can't fucking talk. This is as of June 21st of this year. An age to determine reasonableness is no longer specified in Illinois law after an update to the criminal code went into effect in June of 2023. A previous version of the law said children younger than 13 could not be left for more than 24 hours without supervision from a responsible person who is at least 14. Well, duh.
Yeah, it's like yeah, we gotta leave my child all night for a full day. Like that's to me like, well, no shit. Like
right.
Like we're talking about like I gotta go run errands and I don't want to drag you along here. Like, don't open the door to strangers. Don't answer the phone unless it's for me. It's like that was basically like my mom's thing. Like, so if that law wasn't in effect when we were kids, our parents would still be in jail. Like,
right.
For all the all the violations. It's like, and I'm not saying like one way is typically like, you know, generally right than the other. Like obviously don't, like if you're leaving your child, like if you work like multiple jobs, you have to leave your child for hours and hours on end, like every single day, like, or the whole parentification thing, like, oh, you're the older sibling, take care of younger siblings because I won't be home to do it. Like I understand, like, there's extremes on both sides. So it's like, but to, like, what our parents did, like, oh, I have to go to work here. Just don't burn the house down. That's all we ask.
Right.
Don't open the door to strangers. Don't burn the house down. Like,
Okay, so, like, I distinctly remember at, like, age 9, 10, 11, my grandma quit coming to the house after school to sit with us because I was old enough to sit with my sister for 2 hours while we waited for my mom to come home from work. Because there was, like, a 2-hour gap of time by the time we got out of school to when she would be home. And, like, because I was 10 years old and knew not to burn the goddamn house down, like, knew enough to not burn the house down, and she trusted me enough to know that my sister wasn't gonna burn the house down either, that we could at least not kill each other or set the house ablaze for 2 hours by ourselves. We could stay home by ourselves for 2 hours. This woman would have had us taken away.
and then
This day
meanwhile, and I've told you the story this before, but meanwhile, then my cousin,
Oh, yeah.
sweet little Mark, sweet little
Mark.
Mark was home alone. He was at his house, and this is just, like I said, this is, like, a product of our time because my mom didn't have to, like, take me with her, so, like, I don't remember what happened. It's just one of those things I had to imagine where my mom gets a phone call because, you know, you had a list. This is when we all had just had landlines. So my Mark had
Right.
a list of phone numbers. He calls my mom, Aunt Carol. She goes, "Yes, honey," because, like, his parents were at work. My mom was not. So Mark would have been, like, I would say 10 to 12. I don't remember exactly the age, like 10 to 12. And so he calls my mom, Aunt Carol. He's like, the house is filling with smoke. She goes, what?
Oh,
He's like, we put something in
no.
the oven and now the house is filling the smoke and the oven won't open. And she was like, okay, just get out, like, leave the house. So she run, like, luckily we lived like a mile or two down the road. And
Yeah.
it's because my cousin and his friend, same age, two boys, put a frozen pizza in the oven, and for whatever reason, pushed self-cleaning on the oven and not bake, not anything, just self-clean. I don't know what their thought process was, but they pushed self-clean, and so of course, like, that just filled up the whole area with smoke because obviously a self-cleaning oven should be empty.
Yeah.
And so they were fine. They didn't burn the house down. They just filled it with a bunch of smoke. But, like, my mom didn't even need to, like, take me. She's like, okay, now you stay here. Don't touch the oven. I'll be right back. So the fact that, like, and Mark and I are like 3 months apart in age. So, like, she's like, you stay here. I'll be right back. And so
Oh my gosh.
so that's just like a product of our time. Like I said, we kind of like, and I was also, like, feel like in the day, like, kids were just able to entertain themselves easier. Like,
Yeah,
because
I agree.
I remember like 6, 7 years old, we had the house we lived at the time had a basement. And so we'd be down there for hours. We could have
for
died.
sure.
We could have died. Our parents would have
Nobody
known.
came to check on us either.
Yeah. Like, unless the kids are screaming because they're arguing,
Right.
like, you wouldn't even tell there was kids in the house.
Mm-mm.
So, and it wasn't a matter of kids should be seen, not heard, which I hate that phrase, but it's also like we would be in the basement or outside or whatever, like, for hours, and as long as you were back by a certain time, that's fine. But, like, because I remember also, my cousin got hurt. This is a cousin that lives in Missouri, female cousin. We were playing on the treadmill we had in the basement, and we put the setting too high, and she fell on the treadmill. So, like, that was just the matter of, like, that's what happens when you leave kids too long, which I know is not really a great argument for, like, letting kids be kids, like, letting kids become independent, but it's also like,
eventually anarchy sets in.
yep. It's like Lord of the Flies, like,
Yes.
if anyone read Lord of the Flies. But it's just, as long as we didn't, like, and my mom's like favorite phrase was, "Are you bleeding? Then you're fine.
Right.
You're fine. Do you see bone? Anything broken? No blood? Then go away." Like, go away. Which would be seen as, like, child abuse these days.
Oh my God, for sure.
And it's just, and it's not like, obviously our parents weren't abusive. It's just more like they're kids. They're gonna fall down. They're
Right.
gonna get hurt. You can't coddle them forever. Like that's not
Right.
how the real world works. And so I feel like we would just be left to our own devices for hours on end, and like our parents wouldn't know, like until it was time for supper, or or if it was after supper, until it's time for bed. Our parents just kind of, for lack of a better word phrase, like just forgot about us. They're like, yeah,
Yeah.
they're fine. I don't hear them screaming. They're fine.
So my favorite one, did you ever get this one? Because I don't know, I got this a lot in my house just because I grew up with boy cousins
Yeah.
a lot. Was when you get hurt doing something they told you not to do. The first thing you got before an "Are you okay?" was, "That's why I told you not to do
Yeah.
that shit."
Yeah. And this is why we don't jump on the bed.
That's right. And that's why we don't touch the fucking stove, Nicole. This is why we don't play with the fucking hose. Yeah.
And this is what we call natural consequences.
Natural consequences. You're damn right. So
Consequences for your actions.
correct. So yeah, we had a lot of natural consequences going on in our house. And zero sympathy when you played a stupid game and won a stupid prize.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I tend to, you can call me a boomer if you want for this, but I feel like there's a little bit of a lack of that
Mhm.
in this life today. A little bit of a lack of natural consequences for things. You play a stupid game, you're going to win stupid prize. And we've got to stop making it easy for people to avoid winning the stupid prize.
Right.
Sometimes they need to win a stupid prize so that they learn.
Yeah.
Especially the children's. Even my kids. My kids are level 1, level 2 autistic. Sometimes they got to learn and get the stupid prize. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because then they don't, I mean, sometimes that's the only way they will learn. Sometimes the only way I learn is when you let me play a stupid game and I win a stupid prize. You know what I
It's
mean?
like you gotta sometimes you just gotta let your kids fail. Like they're gonna
Yeah,
fail in time
for sure.
in life sometimes. They're not gonna get everything they wanted. They're not gonna have like their mommy and daddy following them around, making sure everyone in the world's not gonna be mean to them. And
Right?
and I'm not saying like, oh well, they just need to tough it up because the world's just cruel as it is. It's like, okay,
Right.
the world shouldn't be cruel. I'm not saying that, but it's like
Right.
it's just matter of fact, it's like that's just life sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
it's
life.
difficult to balance as a parent. It is difficult to balance. When do you allow that, natural consequences thing to happen, and when do you try to keep them from making mistakes and guide them away from maybe a bad decision? It's a difficult tightrope to walk, right? Like, it's difficult. And at the end of the day, I think the most comforting thing to me is that therapy exists. Um, and that I think I've just made it my point to know that, like, I'm gonna fuck them up a little bit. I'm not gonna survive. They're not gonna survive my household. Nobody's kids are gonna survive anyone's household. Even the most well-meaning, loving, wonderful parents are gonna fuck their kids up a little bit along the way, right? And that's what therapy's for.
Mhm.
Just pay their therapy bill. You're even.
Yeah.
Tell them you're sorry. Acknowledge that sometimes parents fuck up and we aren't perfect, and that you truly are sorry for any harm that they feel that you have caused, and then pay for their therapy bill. That's all you can do, because you know what? That's all your kids want is acknowledgement and therapy paid for. You know what I mean? Like, that's all your children want. So I feel like if you do those things, you're good. You're a good parent, right? Simple as that. The best parenting advice you'll ever get right here on the Neurodivergent Convergence podcast. Acknowledge that you fucked up as a parent and that you will not make it out of your parenting journey without fucking up your children, no matter how good of a parent you are, and that you're gonna have to pay for their therapy bill. Done.
And it's also like, and I understand, like
All the advice team.
I can't really give parenting advice because I'm not a parent. And so the whole, and to me, this really bugs me when people are like, well, you don't understand, you're not a parent. Okay, but I'm like a human being who has human being experiences, and your children are also human beings, and you're a human being. So I feel like if I'm seeing a child throwing a tantrum that's not related to like autism or whatever, it's because throwing a tantrum because they just didn't get what they fucking wanted at that point in time. Like, I as a human being recognize, well, that's not good. That's not like, and I've told the story before, but it's like when I worked at Barnes and Noble, like the cashier's area was right by the door, like obviously, but like this, I think it was like a babysitter or a nanny or something, because she kept saying like, oh, your dad or whatever, you know, and she didn't look like the kid's dad, like, and or the kid's parent. I mean, she didn't look like that was her kid, and so she let this kid drag this box that was almost as big as him from the opposite side of the store, knowing she wasn't going to buy this kid this toy. Let him drag it up there, and then when they got to the front, he's trying to be all like, oh well, you know, time to buy, and this kid looks like 4, 5 maybe, and just because she's like, no honey, I just let you carry it up here. So then Heath has like the most stereotypical meltdown I've ever seen, where he is literally on his stomach banging his feet and his hands on the ground. Because I guess because she didn't want to tell him no in the toy area where no one else is, she decided she was going to have him have a full-on tantrum in the front of the store where everyone is, and I have no choice but to listen to it. And she's like, well, she's not even trying to like, she's trying to do the whole gentle parenting thing, which like there's mixed feelings about, like there's a right way to do it, wrong way to do it, but she's doing the whole gentle parenting thing. Like, instead of just like what my dad would have done, he'd be like, okay, and just picked me up off the fucking ground and took me outside. Like, try to talk him through it. You can't really talk this kid through it. Like, she eventually had to like pull him up by his hands. I'm like, he's in the middle of like a full-blown tantrum. Like, you doing that because you did not want to tell him no like 5 minutes ago, and now you're telling him no, like, oh honey, I just let you carry this big toy up to the front knowing I wasn't going to buy it for you. So here he's throwing a tantrum for 15-20 minutes, and I'm just like, and I understand, like, well, you're a parent, you don't understand. No, I'm pretty sure, like, I understand as a human that like you have to be told no sometimes. Like, you can't just let the kid whatever the fuck they want at all times. And so she just kept saying, oh honey, like, you know, like your dad wouldn't want you to have this, your dad like not like, so that's why I think it wasn't like her kid. And so
there's so many errors,
and so to me it's just like, like, or another time when I was at Walmart and I was in the like, ours is set up to where you go in, to the left is the pharmacy, past that is like the hair stuff, the, you know, makeup, all that. I'm in like the shampoo aisle, like past the pharmacy, and then you have to go like down another like perpendicular aisle to get to like the toys and stuff. And I just hear this, like, I don't remember what the noise was, but this kid just making a constant loud enough noise to where I could hear it 30, 50 feet away, clear as day. And I already have like on like the verge of a migraine, and I go up to him, and like they're at like the middle of the aisle, middle of the like toy aisle, and I just stop at like the main aisle, so I'm probably a good 15 feet away from them, and I just said, can you please tell your kid to like stop? And then he's like, hey, you don't talk to my kid that way. And he's like, well, but he's only like this years old. This kid was old enough to know. Like, this kid was like 8 or 9. So old. And I said, so it sounds like your kid is old enough to know empathy, because you're allowing him to make this like obnoxious noise for all to hear and not doing a thing about it. I'm really proud of you that you have managed to tune your kid out, but the rest of the world, and obviously I didn't say all this, like, I'm really proud that you have able to like tune your kid out, but the rest of the world has not. So please, like, he did stop. He eventually stopped. I think the kid recognized more than the dad that what he was doing was, oh, this is annoying. Where the dad is like, well, don't you dare talk to my kid that way. I'm not talking to your kid. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. So I'm asking that your kid's making an obnoxious noise for way too long. You should recognize that that's fucking annoying.
Right.
So, like, it's not
this
like
is not his own personal space. He's in a public place.
Yeah. It's like
There
when
are other
people go to the
here.
movie theater and act like when people go to the movie theater and act like the movie theater is their living room. It's not your living room.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you are sharing this space with other people.
Right.
So
I agree with you on that
like,
one.
I understand, like, well, as a parent, you wouldn't, like, obviously, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but I'm also a human that has to share the space with these kids, and when you're letting a kid do whatever the fuck they want, they're not going to get far in life. Like, their boss is not going to coddle them. Like, oh, it's because your mommy told you can do whatever the fuck you wanted whenever you wanted. Okay, well, I guess I'll let you do that too. No.
Right.
It's not good. No, that's not how life works.
Right. I want to unpack that just for a second, because I feel like we found a vein, and I want to roll with it. And we're like 36. Okay, I'm trying to watch our time, because I think we can do this in 2 parts, but I want to make it we'll make it 2 small ones. Why do I have to burp right when I'm about to make a point? Grr. Anyway, so the first scenario I think is most irritating to me. And I'm going to tell you, I want to play that out, because so many things happened here on behalf of the adult in which should not have happened that I'm frustrated about. First of all, as you stated, yes, the child does need to learn that no is a complete sentence, and that this fucking hair. Stop it. Stop it. Okay,
the kid needs to learn about hair. It's fucking hair.
Kid needs to learn about hair. My hair needs to learn to stay in place. It needs rewashed. Anyway, God bless it. The adult who was in charge of the child should not have ever let that scenario play out like it did. They took that kid into a highly sensory stimulating environment, like a Barnes and Noble. There are colors everywhere, right? Books, toys that are literally right in the view of the kids, right in the aisleways. They have an entire department full of bright, colorful, eye-catching shit for the children's, right? You took that kid into a Barnes and Noble. You said he was probably about 4?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Okay, toddler, right? Into a fucking Barnes and Noble. Toddler brain doesn't give a fuck about the word no. We'll just put that out there. They are just now starting to understand that they have boundaries and they can push them. Okay, this is prime time toddler fuck you season in the 4s and 5s. Okay, it starts in age 3, solidifies around age 4, starts to get a little better around age 5, per my experience. Anyway, so this poor child is in prime time fuck you mode in his life, and he's walked into a sensory stimulating experience with someone who is not his parent, perceivably not his parent. The woman then proceeds to take him to the most sensory exciting spot. Lets him take toy from shelf, large toy from shelf, that he's clearly very excited about, because he then scoots it all around the fucking Barnes & Noble, because that adult, assumably, wanted to finish browsing for their things, right? They don't want to deal with a tantruming child while they're trying to browse for their wares. So their thought process, I'm sure, Let's let the kid drag this massive fucking toy around the store that we know we're not going to purchase for him so that I can do my own shopping. And we'll deal with the fit later. Then comes time to leave store. Lets this kid take it all the way to the fucking checkout counter. Then tells kid can't have it.
Right.
That's psychologically fucked up.
As you let this kid for like carry around for 5, 10, 15 minutes, however long.
Correct. I'm sorry. The kid is not the problem in that situation.
No.
That like, situation, that child is not the fucking problem.
Like, I will say, anytime I complain about a kid being annoying, it's because I'm complaining about the parent letting the kid be annoying. Like,
just I'm not saying you were saying the kid was the problem. I'm just making it very fucking clear that is a heavy failure on the fault. That is a heavy failure on the adult's side. That child is in no way, shape, or fucking form mentally or psychologically able to understand at age fucking 4 in an environment like a Barnes and Noble that he's only being allowed to touch this toy and take it all around the store so that his guardian can finish their shopping without him throwing a fit. You are asking a 4-year-old to do fully developed frontal lobe shit. He's 4. It's not gonna happen. Like, he has no fucking control, no impulse control whatsoever. He's a baby. He's a toddler. You can't do that. That was not that baby's fault. Okay? That's fucked up. That is like, you just tortured that kid. That is like torture to a fucking toddler. You can't do that shit. That's awful. Just deplorable fucking behavior. That is a person who does not understand children whatsoever. And probably shouldn't be watching them if that's how they conduct themselves while out in public with a 4-year-old child. That's just my opinion. You have zero business watching kids and taking them out in public if that is the decisions you are making when you're out in public. Because that kid did not need to have that meltdown. You just added to that kid's day. No matter whether that kid is neurotypical or not, you have just added unnecessary stress and trauma to that poor little kid's life at age 4 because you didn't want to deal with the tantrum so you could shop in Barnes & Noble, and so you waited till they left and highly confused that kid and caused a whole ass scene and made everybody else endure and watch this child be terribly fucking embarrassed, and now leaving everyone thinking this kid's a fucking brat and that you're not a bad parent, your kid's just a fucking brat. Like, no, you're a shitty fucking caregiver. Stop that. Don't do shit like that. So shit on you. We don't like you. We don't stand you. You don't need to be watching children if that's the decisions you fucking make. Neurotypical or not. I don't care. That is not how you deal with kids. Moving on. Second scenario. Loud noise child. I have a child that likes to stim verbally. Okay, I have a verbally stimming child. As a parent, I have had to learn to do my best to give him space to verbally stim when it's appropriate. However, he also needs to learn that just because he needs to verbally stim, what his act, even though it's something that's calming him down, it might be upsetting or hurting other people, right? Because while that noise is calming him down, it's upsetting somebody else, right? So he has to learn to work through that. It's a fine line between telling someone you can't stim in public because it's not appropriate and allowing that person to do what they need to do to feel comfortable in the moment. However, you also have to teach them that when you are in public, it is not your personal space, and you do have to be respectful of other people's needs other than yours. So it is a fine line. What was this loud noise? What were they doing exactly? Can you explain it to me?
Like I said, it's been years, so I can't remember, but it was just kind of like it was loud. Like I said, it was loud enough to where I could hear them clearly from like 50 feet away.
Damn.
And he wasn't singing. He wasn't like I don't know if it was repetitive, but I basically just got to the point where I just had to be like, "Can you please tell your kid to stop?" Like,
Yeah.
and so like the kid stopped. So like the kid, I think, was more respectful than the dad. The dad looked like the typical like blue collar dad with his blue
Yeah.
collar son, and so like and they weren't even standing right next to each other. Like he was probably 15, 20 feet away from his kid, and so like I think it's just like I said, and I don't really appreciate like not saying you do this, but I don't really appreciate it's like anytime like anyone has any sort of um like critique on something, well the kid might be autistic, the kid might be
Right.
this, the kid might be I'm like, no, or the kid just could just be a kid. Like
Right.
a kid could just be making annoying noise because like, oh look at this noise I can make with my mouth.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so like I couldn't like and kids can be like that. Like
Right.
most kids are not neurodivergent. If most kids are neurodivergent, that would be neurotypical.
Right.
So
Exactly.
and so like anytime like people post a video of like a kid throwing a tantrum, well he's probably having a meltdown. He's probably this, like or he could just be throwing a tantrum. Like
Right.
kids do that. And I'm not
Kids
saying
just
like
throw
don't
tantrums sometimes.
and it's like I'm not
Doesn't
saying
mean that
like
they're
don't give kids any grace, but it's also so like I said, I don't
right.
remember what sound it was. It was just loud and obnoxious, and so
Right.
I couldn't tell you like what the sound was or whatever.
Okay.
And
Fair
yeah,
enough. But either way, I feel like it is tricky because, like you said, the child could have been verbally stimming, right? But at the same time, even my level 2 autistic son who does verbally stim, we do have to try to have a conversation with him. Thankfully, we're able to have the conversation with him where he can understand enough to know that, like, while this stim is comfortable for me and I like it, sometimes it upsets and hurts my mom's ears. So I'm going to try to choose a different option to stim, or maybe I could do this instead, or maybe I can turn the volume down on my stim, like just try to stim a little quieter or go to a different room. But when we're in public, it's harder, but I don't know. It's tricky. The making noise in public thing is tricky because like I've listened to an episode um that the guys did over on the Spectrum podcast where Nick talks about his daughter, who I believe is also level 2 autistic, and she verbally stims quite a bit, from what I understand. And I guess there was a scenario where they were at a restaurant one time, and she was verbally stimming. I think she was singing a song, and I'm unsure of her level of communication, so I'm not gonna speculate on that, but I do know that he's mentioned her singing a lot. So she was singing a song, I believe, at the table, and I guess the volume of her singing was upsetting to the person who was at the table next to them, or the booth next to them, and the guy reached over the booth and was like, "Hey, can you tell her to be quiet? Like, that's really loud and really annoying." And Nick was like, "No. No, I will not tell her to be quiet. She's autistic. She's just being herself. This is what she does. She's not going to change that. I can't change that. I'm sorry. Like, we have a right to be here. We have a right to go out in public, and she has a right to exist as she is, even though she's loud and you don't like it." Which is also true. So I feel like that is a harder road to tread,
yeah,
you know?
it's a fine line. Like I said, it's to me it's like different. Like if someone like if I were have to like gone up to the kid myself and be like, "Well, you shut the fuck up."
Right, right, right.
It's
No,
so
which you
like
would
to
not
me,
have done because that's not
yeah,
appropriate.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Because also like I have confrontational anxiety to where that's like
right.
I didn't even almost say anything to the like that's how much you can tell like that how much this is before I knew like before I had any suspicion that I was autistic or anything. And like I said, I was just on
I'm
the verge of,
surprised
like,
you said something at all.
normally I just kind of like I'm just kind of like fuming on the inside,
Yeah, just
like when
quietly fuming.
like even like I said, my one of my coworkers constantly whistles, and so like I've never told him to stop. And it's just it's more like I'm just more like he'll stop eventually. He'll stop eventually. Just put your headphones
Right.
in, he'll stop eventually. And so the fact that I actually went up to the parent, like I said, I didn't go like up to the parent. I was like probably 10, 15 feet away from him when I was just like, can you please tell your kid to stop? And so like, and I could imagine myself. I was visibly tired. Like,
Yeah.
can you like this is just not what I want to deal with right now. The lights are too bright in here. Like Zach
You were already overstimulated.
Yeah, I'm already like, I don't want to be here. It's fucking Walmart. And so yeah, but do you want to wrap this episode up?
Yeah, I was just looking at the time. I was like, let's probably wrap it. We talked about everything and nothing at the same time.
Like, we didn't have a topic. Like, full disclosure, we're just like, we don't really have a topic. We've been too political lately. So let's just talk about nothing. And then we just kind of got on to Gen X, Gen Millennials, and whatever, and like that. Yeah. Anyway, but so I guess we'll do you just want to do the Mad Lib, or do you want to do Mad Lib at the end of the next episode? Do you just want to do it now, just in case we don't get through it?
Yeah, let's do the Mad Lib now, and then I'm thinking next week we hit them with the AI song.
Yeah, I love that.
I have a fucking treat for y'all. It's so good.
She's having fun with the AI songs.
I blacked the fuck out for like 45 minutes creating AI songs about Jeremy the Psychic Cat, and y'all are gonna get to fucking hear them because Amanda and I have not yet purchased our next Mad Lib, and this is the last one that we have for you. So
did you want to do the little song, little ditty?
Yeah, I guess fun and fuckery portion. Let me get my mouse. Mouse, wake up. Wake up, mouse. Let me hit the thing here. I love that.
It's very like old-timey talk show or like radio show. That I like it.
You know what? Because nobody really knows who we are except for like the 65 people who listen to us, which God love the fuck out of every last one of you. I feel like I love the aesthetic of that fucking video so much. I vote we do another updated fucking logo.
Yeah.
Because the last one's very Jeremy focused when we were in our Jeremy era.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need one that encompasses more of who we are, which is unicorns and dumpster fires.
Let's be fair, that was our first logo, and you're like, well, this logo doesn't really mean anything. Like, let's look at Jeremy, and now we're like, there's like the whole ADHD thing. Like, well, I'm not really feeling this anymore. Let's rearrange the furniture now.
Fuck it. This is who we are, people. We will never be the same. Very long.
I'm the person that's like, Nikki even pointed out, she was like, I'm actually kind of like, she's like, envious isn't the right word. I actually kind of admire you, how you like everything being the same all the time. And I'm like, huh, is that an insult or not? I don't know.
No, it's not. It's really not. Like, I meant it. It's really not. I swear to God, I meant that. I am not capable. I have to move things around. I'm just not capable. But anyway, let's do this so we can get moving.
Okay.
This is the very last Mad Lib ever in our adult Mad Lib book. Okay. She is gone after this one. Okay. Very last Mad Lib.
She'll be memorialized. Okay.
Yep. She will be memorialized. I am giving you words. Yes.
Yep. I need an adjective.
Majestic. It's going to be a minute. I filled this out when we thought we were doing it. What, like, 2 weeks ago?
Like 2-3 weeks ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
Verb ending in ing.
Fucking. Y'all already know what it is.
Yeah. Person, room, female.
Amanda. Because you drug me into it last time. So.
Verb.
Spank.
Plural noun.
Unicorns.
Oh yeah. Number
69.
69 giggity. Okay. Plural noun.
Butt plugs. Giggity.
That's not how you spell that.
Do I want to know how you spell
I was combining them. I put blut, like B-L-U-T.
no.
Blut.
The
Blut plugs. Blut plugs. Noun.
Candle.
Candle. Candle in the wind. Noun.
Chainmail.
Chain. Samara makes chainmail. Isn't that weird?
Well,
not weird in a bad way.
Cool.
It's awesome, but it's like of all the things for her to focus on right now. Like she made my brother got her into dice games, and so she made like one of those like Crown Royal bags, you know, like to hold the dice out of chainmail, and so like literally made it out of chainmail. And so she's really getting into it because like my mom asked her like, oh, would you be able to make something like that for Mark? And then I eventually told my mom, I was like, I don't think Mark would like that. I don't think Mark cares. But because even my mom, it was like a little bit pricey for my mom because I told my mom, but like, don't undercut her just because she's your granddaughter. Don't undercut her for her artistic creation. I was like, that takes a long time to make because it's like each individual link. And so, because even Samara was like, it will take me a long time. She's like, I can do it. She's like, it'll just take me a long time. And the materials alone are going to be more than what you're saying, what you're thinking.
Metal is nuts right now. Believe me.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Part of the body, plural.
Cheeks.
Cheeks.
Pick a kind. I don't care.
Clap them cheeks.
Clap them cheeks.
Noun.
Spotted dick.
Oh no.
Good. Good. I needed a no.
Plural noun.
Nut butters.
I'll butter your nut. Okay. Adjective.
Pejorative.
Ooh.
I think you picked that for me.
Oh yeah, I think I looked up a random list of adjectives. Noun.
Mace.
M-A-C-E, like this mace spray,
Sure.
pepper spray,
Sure.
or a mace, like a weapon mace.
I don't care.
Adjective.
Slimy.
Slimy. Ew. It actually kind of works, but in a gross way. Plural.
Good. Hot dogs.
Hot dogs. Verb.
Pucker.
Part of the body.
Anus.
Verb.
Throw.
Color.
Neon green.
Noun.
Beans.
Bean, I'm assuming.
You're going to put beans and you're going to mean it.
I guess. It doesn't say plural noun, but whatever.
I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Adjective.
It's plural now.
It's full beans.
Unless it doesn't make sense, then you can just say bean. I don't care. Adjective is protruding.
Okay. This is called Kissing Cousins, which is kind of awkward because we talked about our cousins a lot this episode. To my one majestic love, oh, I am fucking for you. Like Romeo and Amanda. What a cruel spank of fate that we are star-crossed unicorns. Who cares that we share 69% of the same DNA? The royals do it all the time. Ever since we were little butt plugs, I always felt like we were two peas in a candle. Do you remember when we were 8 years old and went to Chainmail World?
Oh my god!
We held cheeks during the entire roller spotted dick ride. It sent nut butters up my spine.
Nut butters up the spine.
After holding cheeks of your cousin.
No.
This ain't Kentucky, okay?
Oof.
When we got older, I would always get pejorative when you talked about your high school mace friend. And now I can't stop thinking about the slimy kiss we shared at last week's family reunion. That's why I went, No,
Gross.
thank you. This is in August, Osage County. Sorry, that's a little niche joke.
No me gusta.
So what that our hot dogs are brother and sister? Pucker taboos. I don't know what word they would want looking for there.
I don't either.
Like screw taboos, maybe?
Maybe?
I know in my anus we're meant to be together.
That broke me. I know my anus we're supposed to be together.
I know in my anus we're meant to be
I got
together.
that feeling deep in my anus.
As I held your cheeks on the roller spotted dick ride. Do you throw the same way? I hope it wasn't just the neon green wine talking when you told me I am your beans mate. My dream is one day we'll be able to share our secret love with the whole protruding world. The end.
God. Ew.
Something's protruding.
Nasty.
Not in a good way.
That's nasty. Ew.
No,
That's
no me
gross.
gusta.
No me gusta, bitch. You know what? Listen. No me gusta, Pata. Listen here. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to speak this into the universe right now. One of these days, when we're famous, like really famous, like really famous, we're gonna have these, and we're gonna be able to
and I still have this one.
Auction them off.
Yeah.
Like make big. People are gonna want this. This is gonna be something that people will pay big money for at some point. Okay, I'm just saying.
Okay.
We're speaking into the fucking universe. People are gonna be like, if we only had our hands
on the original
fucking Mad Libs. Do you know what I mean?
The OGs.
The OG Mad Lib books. You know what it is.
You know how to do. Well, we gotta wrap this up because we got another one to record, and we have like 45 minutes to record another one.
I know. All right, bye.
Bye.
Hold on.
Maybe.
Let me do the thing.
Julie, do the thing.
I'm afraid there are no more things to do.
All right, for real, we gotta go. You know where everything's at. Just look in the
platformed things.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for looking. Thanks for looking.
Thanks for looking.
Thanks for looking. Thanks for sticking. God damn it. Goodbye.